Let's take you live to central London, where the Brexit Secretary David Davis is speaking. Let's have a listen.
I couldn't agree more with everything you said, although I perhaps wouldn't stick with the landlord metaphor for Europe, but there we are. Now, it's great to see so many of you here in London and outside the Brussels bubble, the Brussels echo chamber. I want to talk to you today about the state of the negotiations and the critical role that the ECR, the European Parliament, and Conservative politicians on both sides of the Channel can play in making Brexit work. But before we get on to talking about Brexit properly, I just want to say a word of thanks to the ECR and the work it's doing. As we negotiate our exit, the United Kingdom remains a European member, a European Union member, a full member. And until we leave, our citizens will be affected each and every day by the policies being discussed and voted on in Brussels. Luckily, they're represented by some of the finest and most public-spirited representatives this country has. It cannot be easy being a British MEP in Brussels right now. But whether it's Syed and Ashley's leadership role in Parliament, or David Nemmer's work promoting free and fair trade, or Amjad's work raising the persecution of the Rohingya people, it's clear to anyone who pays any attention at all that ECR MEPs are doing an outstanding job in standing up for Britain and its values. And that work is vital, because the European Parliament has an important role in the Brexit process. The Parliament, of course, has the right to scrutinise and vote on the deal that's negotiated. But equally, it has a role in influencing those negotiations by setting the context, the principles by which the European Union ranks its priorities. Now, I don't think it would be controversial for me to say I don't always agree with the European Parliament, but they have done an important job raising the issue of its citizens' rights with other institutions in Brussels. It's been clear from the start there could not be a more important issue for us, for the United Kingdom. I do not know a single person who voted to leave in the referendum who did so in order to undermine the rights that citizens enjoy. Not one. And I'm pleased with the progress we've made towards our single aim, giving both British citizens in the EU and European Union citizens in Britain the greatest possible certainty about their future. We've agreed to protect the rights of frontier workers, to protect the existing healthcare rights and arrangements of European Union citizens living in the United Kingdom and British citizens living across the European Union, to protect social security rights for those covered by the withdrawal agreement, including contributions made before and after we exit. And we've secured the right of British citizens in the EU 27 to set up and manage a business, and of course vice versa. And we're now in touching distance, that's the Prime Minister's phrase, in touching distance of an overarching agreement. One that will enable European citizens in the UK and Brits living across Europe to continue living their lives as they do now. Now, I know the title of this conference is Deal or No Deal, and I'll get to the no deal section of my speech shortly. But I do want to explain that I sit completely and unambiguously on the deal side of this particular equation, because reaching a deal with the European Union is not only by far and away the most likely outcome, it's also the best outcome for our country. A good deal will mean we can grasp the opportunities of an independent trade policy, while at the same time giving stability for our business and for the people they employ and for the economy that we support and upon which our prosperity depends. Now, as fellow politicians used to the cut and thrust of debate, you'll understand that Brexit talks have been tough and will continue to be so. Both sides have positions to defend and aims they're trying to achieve. Brexit may be an important democratic moment for the United Kingdom, but it's an unwished for and potentially serious disruption for the European Union. And indeed, as Tim was referring earlier, it's induced some attitudes that go with that, which we have to try and deal with and mitigate. The Commission and Parliament are naturally concerned about what Britain's exit will mean for the European project. Despite this, I'm confident we'll reach an outcome that works for the United Kingdom and that works for the European Union, and the people, of course, that we all represent. Why? Well, because it's in the interests of both sides to do so. 3 million European Union citizens live in the United Kingdom, 1 million Brits live in the European Union. Billions of pounds of trade, hundreds of billions of pounds of trade are done every year between the United Kingdom and the European Union. Trade that supports millions of jobs across the continent. And achieving a deal that works in the United Kingdom and the European Union is the best way of ensuring continued prosperity right across Europe. Because while we're leaving the institutions of the European Union and taking back control of our laws, borders and money, we're not leaving Europe. And we want our closest neighbours, our friends and our allies to succeed, socially, politically, economically. Having a strong, united partner on our doorstep can only be a good thing for the United Kingdom. And it's in this spirit we've approached the negotiations with the European Commission. Behind the headlines that scream of deadlock and impasse, in reality, we've made real and tangible progress during talks so far. On top of the progress we've made on citizens' rights, as I've already mentioned, we've had constructive conversations about the unique circumstances of the Northern Ireland border and agreed joint principles on the common travel area so that people across the United Kingdom and Ireland can continue to live, work and study as freely across the two countries as they do now. Both sides are steadfast in their commitment to uphold the Good Friday Agreement in all its parts. And we agree that we want to avoid any physical infrastructure at the border, a hugely welcome move. On other issues, such as goods, union and member state procedures, privileges and immunities, ongoing confidentiality obligations, all those technical things that actually make the union work, we've reached agreement on the core issues. All of this technical detail will underpin the overarching deal that we want with the European Union. A new and deep and special partnership with our close neighbours, unwavering allies and committed trading partners. However, it's becoming clearer with each negotiating round that we now must start talking about our future relationship. The Northern Ireland border cannot be fully addressed if we're not taking into account the shape of our future partnership with the European Union. Final resolution of the financial settlement depends on it, because nothing is agreed till everything's agreed. That may be a familiar phrase to some of you. And the future of Europe requires a satisfactory resolution to the critical economic issues at stake. And we're ready to begin that conversation about the future partnership as soon as the European Union are. We have a clear vision, a bold and ambitious new relationship with our European friends, with a unique, comprehensive trade agreement at its heart that goes beyond anything the European Union has signed to date. Because after Brexit, Britain will be a third country partner like no other, much closer than Canada, much bigger than Norway, and uniquely integrated on everything from energy networks to services. Now I know that today you will discuss various models for the United Kingdom's future partnership. But here I think we need to be ambitious and challenge ourselves when we think about what agreement we can strike with the European Union. An agreement that's completely new, not a copy and paste of old deals, because we have already an unprecedented amount of cooperation with the Union. And the new partnership that we should strike with the European Union should reflect that. But we don't only need talks to move to the future relationship, but also to the implementation period we want after March 2019. We've made the importance of such a period very clear. Businesses need time to get their houses in order. And by the way, that's both British businesses and European businesses need time to get their houses in order and should only have to prepare for one set of changes between the United Kingdom and the Union after Brexit. And that's as true for businesses in Europe who trade with us as it is for British companies. So during this implementation period, it's our view we should be able to access each other's markets on the same terms as we do now. Because that way, businesses get the confidence they need to make decisions and invest in an informed way, not by guessing what our future partnership with the European Union might look like. But I want to stress, this is not the United Kingdom staying in the European Union in perpetuity. We will be a third country and we will act as one too. That should mean the right to negotiate and sign free trade deals, so they can be enacted once the implementation period is over. We are clear that this transition period will have a strict time limit in accordance with the Prime Minister's double lock. That way, we can deliver on that historic referendum result and leave the European Union, but make sure that our exit is done in a smooth and orderly manner. Now, while I said I'm confident we can get a deal with the European Union, of course, the alternative is possible. Not probable, but it's possible, that we don't get a deal. The department I run, DEXU for short, isn't called the Department for Getting a Deal come what may. It's the Department for Exiting the European Union. And whatever happens, we are leaving the European Union and delivering on the instruction of the British people. Now, I don't think it would be in the interest of either side for there to be no deal. When I sit across the table from Michel Barnier in Brussels, I know he is just as determined as I am to reach an agreement. But as a responsible government, it's right that we make every plan for every eventuality. So over the past year, every department across Whitehall has been working at pace, covering a whole range of scenarios. These plans have been well developed and have been designed to provide the flexibility to respond to a negotiated agreement, as well as preparing us for the chance that we leave without a deal. In Parliament, we're discussing the European Union withdrawal bill today, and that will ensure we have a fully functioning statute book on the day we leave, and will bring forward further legislation as required. We'll also produce new systems and recruit new staff where necessary to ensure that we're ready in good time. Meanwhile, we are continuing to negotiate in good faith with the European Union, because I don't want a discussion about contingency planning to be interpreted as a sign that our negotiations with the European Union will fail, that we want them to fail, that there's a probability they'll fail. All of those are not true. This is a contingency planning exercise that a responsible government does, not a statement of any sort of intent or expectation. Now, as we look to the future partnership, we want the one we want with the European Union. I'm clear that with the backing and support of everyone in this room, we can achieve a deal that actually works for Britain and also for Europe, our strongest partners and friends. I have three simple objectives: short-term, medium-term and long-term. First, we must move the negotiations on to the future relationship. And for that reason, the December Council will be crucial. Then, we must use those talks to strike a deal that works for both sides and implement it smoothly. And finally, we must use Brexit for the betterment of Britain, delivering the change that our people voted for. There are no bystanders in this process. All of you in this room have a role to play. And everyone who wants these negotiations to succeed needs to work together to make it happen. So thank you for coming here today. The case for making progress in these talks is very clear, and so are our objectives. And I know that together you can help us to make them happen. So thank you very much, and good luck with the rest of your conference.
The Brexit Secretary David Davis speaking there, he said that he wants to be able to sign a new trade deal during the transition period and to enact that trade deal when the transition period ends. He says that he's seeking a completely new deal, not a copy of previous engagements. He also says that he is ready to begin talks on the future relationship of Britain and the European Union.